Hi, welcome everyone. I'm glad that you're here. Today we're going to need a chair, a block, a strap. Blanket's nice to have if you need something for your knees too. If you'd like a blanket, we will have options to do hands and knees or be in the chair. We're going to start with a little bit of chair dog. So find your chair and bring the first two legs of the chair to your mat. Hands can be on the seat of the chair. You're going to walk your feet back. Let your knees stay bent. Just a nice, gentle kind of opening up the arms, the legs. And if hands on the seat of the chair feels a little too deep of a bend right now for you, you can always bring your hands to the back of the chair. Maybe that's where you're at this morning. So I'd like you to channel your inner cat or inner dog. And just like they stretch and lengthen their limbs, it's kind of just like a morning stretch, kicking off the dust. You can alternate bending the knees if that feels good. You could swing your hips side to side. Head could be lifted or just let it hang. Feel your breath. Exhale completely. As you inhale, start to walk the feet forward. And options. You could either just keep the hands on the seat of the chair if this feels like a nice gentle stretch for you. Maybe you want to bring your elbows to the chair and it's just kind of like a supported forward fold. Imagine that you have a nose on the sole of each of your feet and you're inhaling through the feet. Exhaling out the head. Imagine that just head's hanging, and imagine just anything you don't need right now, any mind stuff you don't need, just exhaling it out the top of your head into the floor or into the chair. Inhaling from the planet up through the feet, exhaling out the head. A few more rounds like that. Let the knees bend if they need to be. No problem. And then bring the hands to the seat of the chair if they're not already. Bend those knees and slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time. Head's last thing to come up. And just take a moment, feeling how you're connecting to the earth right now through the feet. Feel your breath, maybe feel your heart. And then take a step a little bit wider, feet a little wider than shoulder width distance. Bend those knees. We'll do a little tiger butterfly. So you're just gently twisting the body as you kind of hit the body with your arms. Arms are just kind of dead weight. You can turn your head that direction. You might keep the feet stationary. You might lift the heel that you're turning away from. You could bend the knees, really getting into it. So start to hit the hips. And then spin a little bit faster, hitting the mid-trunk. Maybe you spin really fast and tight and get up to those shoulders. Again, the head could get into it. You could turn. And then slow it down. And then coming to pause. Good. Let's find a place on the floor. If you can't get on the floor, have a seat in your chair, and you're going to just kick up your left leg on another chair. That's if you can't get on the floor. If you can get on the floor, we're going to do just a little Janushirshasana. So you're going to kick your left foot forward, the sole of your right foot to the inner left thigh. Those of you in chairs, don't worry about putting the sole of that right foot to the inner thigh. You could just let it stay on the floor. And exhale completely. Inhale, reach your arms up. And then exhale, fold forward any amount. I do encourage you to keep that left foot flexed as you reach the heart towards the left foot. So today's class, we're going to be working on the upper back muscles, all the muscles that help us stand tall. But first, I'm going to invite you to stretch out all those muscles that we're going to strengthen. Sometimes, even though they may feel weak, they're kind of tight still. So how we're going to do this is just let your back round, your upper back round, let your head go. Now, of course, if you have some sort of spinal injury that when you round your back a lot, it like creates more pain, don't do it. But if you're feeling okay, round your back, part your shoulder blades, just kind of hanging here. So we're stretching out the upper back. We're getting a little stretch in the back of the left leg, maybe a big stretch. And then inhale, come up, tall spine, broad chest. Now we're going to keep the chest broad. Take a quarter turn of the chest to the right. Left hand comes to the floor to the inside of your extended leg. Right hand to the hip. And then side bend to the left. Dropping left shoulder towards that left leg. So now we're opening the heart to the right, and we're hopefully feeling a little bit of a stretch or a lot of a stretch in the right side of the trunk. That's what we're interested in. Maybe deep in front of the right hip. Sometimes we feel it. Couple breaths. Got about one more round of breath here. If you like, you could add the right arm, reaching it straight up or off to the side, to the left, if that feels good. And then come on up. Crossing your left ankle in front of your right. You're going to fold over your crossed shins, getting a stretch in the outside of the left hip. So Sukhasana, crossing those legs. Those of you in the chair, let's see how we could do this. You could bring both feet to the floor and then bring the left ankle on top of right thigh, folding over. And then come on up. Let's do the second side. Extend your right leg straight. Exhale, squaring your chest so it's facing, chest and hips face that foot. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, fold forward. Continue breathing. And then here's where we're going to round the back, let the head fall, part the shoulder blades. Getting the back body as broad as possible. And then on the inhale, come on up. Quarter turn of your heart to the left. Keep the chest broad for this one. Hand to the inside of that right leg, left hand to hip, and then just side bend. We're stretching out the left side of the trunk. So stay here. For the past, the past 4 classes we've been going over the foundations of mindfulness from Jon Kabat-Zinn's Full Catastrophe Living. Jon Kabat-Zinn's the guy who created mindful-based stress reduction. If you want to reach the arm up over the bicep over ear, feel free. So we've so far covered 4 of the foundations, and I thought we'd just review the foundations of mindfulness today. Inhale, come on up. And now let's get the outer hip stretch. Right shin in front of left. We're in Sukhasana or crisscross applesauce. Exhale, fold forward. And so the mindful-based stress reduction course is basically he teaches you a little bit of yoga. He teaches you a little bit of a lot of meditation, and the foundations of meditation is mindfulness. Mindfulness is such a useful tool to have just throughout your entire life, to bring to so many aspects of your life. Mindfulness often people equate with calmness and or peacefulness with mindfulness, but let me just say that you can be completely mindful of like the fact that you're having a panic attack. Like you're like, I am present to all of these sensations, right? Exhale completely, come on up. And then let's come to cobbler's pose real quick. Sole the feet together. If you're in a chair, you would just bring maybe, sit on the edge of your chair. And if you could bring the soles of the outer edges of your feet to another chair, that'd be good. But you could also just hang out with the feet on the floor. That's an option too. You're welcome to fold forward or sit tall. Breathing deep. So mindfulness is basically the non-judgmental awareness of this present moment. And even as we become more mindful, as we become more present to all aspects of our experience, we might start to notice, oh man, wow, my back does hurt. Wow, I do have a lot of like rumination or worry. And even though you're becoming more aware or present to all that is maybe uncomfortable, the sense of calm and stability arises because you're not running from your experience. It takes more energy to run from what you're experiencing than to simply just hold space for it. So these foundations of mindfulness, John Kabat-Zinn says, hey, here's 7 ways of preparing the soil of your mind to blossom mindfulness, blossom non-judgmental presence, regardless of the circumstances. So for the next 3 breaths or so more, I'd like you just to check in what is present for you right now in your body, heart, and mind. And on the next inhale, take a deep, deep breath in and hold it for the count of 3. Open the mouth, let it out. And then come on back up. Okay, kick those legs out for a moment. You could kind of shake them out. Next posture that we're going to do is Vajrasana. And I'm going to show it, I'm going to model it for those of you who can be on your hands and knees first. Those of you who don't want to put pressure on your knees, come to sit in a chair. Those of you who are okay with being on knees, the way we're going to do it, you're going to have thighs together, feet together, sit back onto your heels. And with an inhale, stand up on the knees, reach up. Exhale, hinge from your hips, rear goes back, chest leads, and then forehead taps on the floor, backs of the hands on the sacrum. On the inhale, use your glutes, your hamstrings to lift up, heart leads, broad, open chest. And then exhale, hinging forward, rear back, heart forward, head taps down. Okay, those are those of you who can do the knee business. Keep moving. Those of you who need a little bit extra TLC for the knees, sit on your chair, feet are on the floor, entire soles of the feet on the floor, the heels are just in front of the knees, and you want to keep your thighs parallel throughout this process. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hinge forward. Use the strength of your legs as you come down, palms stack, face up. Inhale, sweep out and up, reach up. Keep moving with your breath. Everybody's moving. Those of you in the chair, as you come down, your knees are probably going to swing apart. Try not to do that. Keep the inner thighs working so that the thighs stay parallel the entire time. Let's all do this for about 4 more rounds of breath. And then we're going to finish. Those of you on your knees, come into child's pose. Those of you in the chair, you could fold forward, placing your hands on your thighs. Maybe hands come towards the floor. So everyone's in a forward fold. Take a few moments breathing into the back body. So the first foundation of mindfulness that we went over was non-judgment. So doing our best not to place judgment on the experience we're having in our body, heart, mind, external experience. Just allowing ourselves to be open to whatever that is currently presenting itself to us. And that's a practice. A couple of rounds of breath. And then inhaling slowly, coming up. And then let's make our way to stand. Standing with our feet about hips width distance apart. Step your right foot back. We're going to come into a little baby warrior one. Bend the left knee. So the back foot's 45-degree turn out. The entire sole of both feet are on the floor. And try to square hips and shoulders to face the front of your mat. And if you can't do that, you might need to hop the back foot forward a little bit. Maybe it needs to go out to the right a little bit. Bring your hands to your tummy and pull your tummy in. Stand tall. And sometimes I think that we can get into trouble in our yoga practice is because maybe we're judging our body like, well, I should have my foot like really far away. Like this is what warrior one needs to look like, right? Maybe your warrior one is like only a foot, right? A foot between the feet. Square those hips once more, tummy in. On an inhale, you're going to open your arms out into a cactus. The left knee is bent. On the exhale, swing the arms forward and down, straighten the front leg. Inhale, open the chest. Now we're strengthening the muscles between the scapula, drawing the scapula together. Exhale, give it a break, front leg straighten. Inhale, bend the front leg, open the chest, tummy in. Exhale, give it a break. And then we're going to come into it once more. Keep the arms open, the chest open, front knee bent. Let's take 4 breaths here. Draw your chin slightly down the head back and lift your heart vertically. Exhale, step forward, mountain pose. And then step the left foot back. Let's do second side. So finding what does your warrior two look like for you today? Maybe this side looks a little different. Front knee's going to bend, square hips and shoulders to the front of your mat. With an inhale, open the chest, elbows bend, cactus. Exhale, straighten the front leg, arms alongside the body. Keep moving with the breath. And it's very important to keep the tummy toning in, particularly if you know that you have low back tension. Make sure the core is working so that the low back gets a little bit of a break. We'll do one more cycle of breath here, and then we're going to hold in this open-armed position. So we're moving our scapula together. Watch that the shoulders aren't riding up towards the ears. Do your best to relax the shoulders away from the ears. Long neck, slow breath. Couple more breaths here. And then exhale, Really step forward, mountain pose. Non-judgmental awareness of this moment. So it's easy to be judgmental about your judgments too. So don't fall into that trap if you can, right? You're like, why am I so judgmental? Just let that go as well. That's judgmental as well. Okay. Two versions of the next posture. I'm going to show the first version for people who are okay with being on their knees. And then I'll go to the chair version, okay? Oh, actually, it's not a chair version. It's a block version. Sensitive knee people have a block nearby. Okay, we're going to come on to our hands and knees, those of you who are okay with your knees today. And you're going to come into a posture in yin. I think they call this swan. You draw the left knee forward, and then you slide the back leg back. Now, this isn't pigeon pose. It's the left knee is pointing straight forward. I think you can see. So, right, pigeon would be like knee out. This is knee forward. Those of you who are okay with this with your knees, you're going to inhale, lift your chest. You're going to be using your arms and wrists as well. Exhale, lower your forehead to the floor. And then you're just going to move back and forth, inhaling, lifting, exhaling, lowering. Okay. Those of you who maybe the knees are sensitive, maybe you just want more chill practice, you're going to come onto your back, lift your hips, and slide a block underneath your hips. So we're all opening up the right hip. You're going to draw the left knee into the chest and straighten the right leg. So make sure that block is right underneath your bottom. Those of you who are doing the swan, it's like swan push-ups or something, coming up and down, you're eventually going to just pause with the chest lifted. So now the stretch is getting real, if it hasn't already. I find that if I squeeze my right glute, that it helps open up the front of the right hip even more. Do keep your tummy in. Do keep your chest lifted. Perhaps turning up the corners of your mouth. Those of you who are on the block, you can just go ahead and switch sides. Hands and knees, people, come back through hands and knees. Second side, right knee forward. Extend left leg back. And then on the exhale, forehead moves towards the floor. Inhale, lifting the chest. So moving back and forth. People who are on the block, so this would be right knee into chest, left leg long. Mm-hmm. And then folks who are on your knees, you'll pause, lifted chest, maybe squeezing that left glute if you like. Tummy's in though, heart lifted. Take about 4 breaths. Very good. So hands and knees, people, you can come back through hands and knees. If you like, go ahead, hit up a child's pose. But the next stop will be on our belly. So that's where we're all moving. Coming onto your belly. And do have your strap nearby. Once you arrive on your belly, though, let's do a little crocodile, just taking a break. Take the feet wide, stack the palms or the forearms, and then just rest your forehead on your forearms or palms. Let your bottom relax, let your belly relax. And see if each inhale, you can push your belly into the floor as you inhale. Inhale, expand the belly into the floor. Exhale, relax, release. Do that a handful of times here. So John Kabat-Zinn says, in addition to trying to be as non-judgmental about our experience as we're learning mindfulness, it's important to be patient too. So the second one is patience. Just like you wouldn't want to rip open a chrysalis as a butterfly is trying to hatch out of it. You wouldn't yell at a seed to grow. Just allowing things to unfold in their own time. Knowing that there's a natural rhythm to things. And we'll need some patience for this next posture. So go ahead and first we're going to open up our quads, and I really request that you do be patient with the tops of your thighs. And here's how we'll do it. We're going to bend the left knee, and I encourage you, if you do know you have tight quads, tight back, keep your forehead on your forearms. You're either going to grab the top of that foot and just feel the stretch, or some of you, that's what we're going to use the strap for. Do your best to lasso the foot. I haven't really quite found a technique that works best to lasso the foot. So I'm not really sure. Just finding that strap, lassoing the foot, and here we are getting that stretch. And just check in if you find that your left knee is kind of starting to swing out to the side pretty excessively. Maybe the low back's getting pinched. Ease up on the stretch. Keep the thighs parallel, knowing that your quads will open in their own time. And if you're like, the left quad is the tightest one for me, go ahead, stay here. We are going to move to the right side though, just moving on. So eventually releasing the left. We're going to bend the right, grab a hold of the top of the foot, maybe lasso that foot with the strap. Come back to rest on the mat. You could even experiment with big belly breaths here. Make sure your low back feels supported and relaxed. So soft bellies. And if you really just can't lasso the foot, if you can't even reach it, you could even just stack the forearms and just point your toe towards the sky or that direction. You could always do that. You don't have to grab a hold of it. Take about 2 more breaths here. And then release. Take the feet wide, shimmy your hips, releasing any tension that might have accumulated in the low back. Now, if you know that you do have a lot of back tension, keep the feet wide for this next posture. Lengthen your tailbone towards the back of the mat, and let's come into Sphinx pose. If you're feeling pretty good in your low back today, bring the feet together. So in Sphinx pose, we're propping ourselves up with our elbows. And if you can see, my elbow is right under my shoulder. My forearms are parallel, and I'm pressing my elbows down to lift my heart away from the mat. Here we are, strengthening the shoulders again. Now, be sure to draw your tummy in for this one. We want the tummy toned in. Draw it in so much that the low belly gets a little bit lighter off the floor. Maybe some of you pick it up off the floor. The pelvis is still on the mat. The legs are still on the mat. So we're going to be in Sphinx pose, I'd say for about 6 more rounds of breath. Working on patience. Lengthen your tailbone towards the heels. I'm going to give the option, those of you at home, if you want to bend your left knee and come into half bow pose, this is just an option. You do that for 3 breaths. So right forearm would come across the body. You grab a hold of the back foot for 3 breaths. Left side, then you do the same thing, 3 breaths, right side, okay? If you're like, no thanks, cool, hang out with me, we'll just do 6 breaths of Sphinx pose. After your 6th breath, we'll meet back in that crocodile position, that relaxation on the belly, forehead to the mat or to the palms. Shimmy your hips. Once again, releasing, relaxing tension in the back and the bottom. And then let's take 3 soft belly breaths here. As you inhale, this soft belly pushes into the floor. As you exhale, release, relax. Twice more like that. Okay, so the next posture will be a hands and knees posture. So if that's not your style, flip over on your back right now. So those of you who need gentleness for your knees, you're going to be on your back, and you're going to have your thighs together and your feet wide in this constructive rest pose. Just chilling, breathing. Stay in constructive rest, sensitive knee folks. And then those of you who are okay with your knees, you're going to come back up onto hands and knees, and we're going to do some chakra vakasana. So that basically is coming in and out of child's pose with a back bend in between. Inhale, cow pose. Here's your back bend. Exhale, round your back. Rear to heels, chest to thighs. Release the forehead towards the mat. Inhale, come on back up for your back bend. Moving. As we keep moving back and forth, and contemplating the 3rd foundation of mindfulness, which is beginner's mind. So that's where our history and our feelings of expertise in something can get in the way of us actually being present to what is present. Allowing ourselves to not know. Do we really know? Okay. Now we're going to meet in child's pose. So hands and knees, people, sit back on the heels, child's pose. Those of you who are on your back, just gently draw the knees into the back. I guess we could call this reclined child's pose, Supta Balasana, maybe. Just being in the I don't know space. Draw the knees now into the chest so the feet are off the floor. And I'm going to break it down with the legs, then I'll add the arms. So the legs are inhale, extend the legs towards the sky. Exhale, bend the knees. So you can do that a couple times, just exploring for yourself. Now we all have a different availability of stretch in our calves and hamstrings. So if your leg extension looks something like that, cool, no problem. Just doing what you can, just get those legs in the air. If you peel the toes towards the knees, you're more likely to feel a stretch in the calves. And then we'll add the arms. So the arms are inhaling, sweeping them up and back behind us. Exhaling, sweeping them up and alongside the body. Keep moving. And do your best as you're moving through this to keep the low back pressing into the floor. Use your tummy to do this. So the navel is moving towards the floor, towards your spine. As the legs extend to the sky, the arms sweep up and back behind you. Now, next time the arms are back behind you, keep them there, but bend the knees and just take a moment to open up the arms. You might feel this in your chest as well. Some of you might have some shoulder stuff. That means that you have to have your arms at a T here. That's cool. Do that. If you're feeling pretty good in your shoulders today, keep flattening your low back and your upper back into the mat. Keep them flat. Interlace your fingers and rotate your palms away from you. Keep the arms on the floor as you do this. Press the low back into the mat. And now here we go. This is where we're really countering the rounding in the upper back that can occur. Keep your gaze at the ceiling so the neck feels kind of long on both sides. Now, if this is enough for you and you know your low back gets pinched, I would just stay here with the knees into the chest. If you want more, you're going to inhale and extend the legs towards the sky, and you're going to just chill here. I guess not chill, you're going to breathe here, right? Non-judgmentally present, patient, beginner's mind. More breath. And then release. We're all going to meet with our arms alongside the body, feet on the floor, thighs touching, feet walking wide. Bring hands to the belly, relax your tummy, big belly breath into the hand, easy breath out. Now start to windshield wiper your knees side to side. So the feet aren't touching, they're still wide, windshield wiper, side to side. Take a pause on one side for a couple breaths if you like, and the other, or maybe just movements where it's at for you right now. A few more breaths. And then rolling to one side, use your arms to help yourself come up. Now, here we are. We're going to sit. And we're going to sit with our legs out in front of us. That often lends to a lot of rounding in the low back. So if that's what happens to you, if you have a pillow nearby or something, maybe a rolled up blanket, slide it behind your knees. I know I usually am like, sit on a blanket or a pillow, but today we're going to just try something a little different. If you're feeling like pretty open in your hamstrings, you're like, no thanks, that's totally fine too. Okay, I'm just going to show the gentle version or the tight hamstring version. Okay, sitting as tall as you can. If you flex your feet, you'll get a stretch in the calves. You're going to inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, slowly fold forward over the legs. When you inhale, you're going to come up like 45 degrees, reaching your arms 45 degrees up. So I'm kind of hinged forward. My back is long, my chest is open. On an exhale, bend the elbows and open the chest. Squeeze shoulder blades together. Inhale, reach once more forward. Exhale, fold, relax. That's the flow. We're going to do it a handful of times. Inhale, 45 degrees-ish, go in that direction. Exhale, cactus. Squeeze scapula together behind the heart. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, 45. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, 45. Exhale, fold. Woo, we're going to be sore, maybe. Inhale, 45. Exhale, broad chest. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Now, as you do this next one, I want you to pay attention to the position of your chin. I'd like your chin towards your throat. Inhale, 45, chin towards throat. Keep it there, but lift your head. Exhale, cactus. So chin towards throat, really long back of the neck, long throat still. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Let's do one more just like that. Long throat, long neck. Inhale, reach. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, reach. And exhale, fold. For this fold, do you want to let your feet go? Would you prefer not to flex them? Then don't. Let this be as pleasurable of a fold as possible. Head hanging low. Breathing into the low back, mid back. With your next inhale, come on up. Remove your props if you're using them, a pillow. And then we'll make our way slowly onto our backs. Okay, take a moment with your feet on the floor, knees bent, arms alongside the body. We're going to come in and out of bridge pose. As we do this, keep your thighs parallel, your glutes strong. On an inhale, lift your hips, sweep your arms up, and then back behind you. On the exhale, Lower the hips as arms come up and then alongside the body. Just like that, keep moving with the breath. Again, the gaze is on the ceiling. And as you inhale those hips up, feel the strength of your legs. Press all four corners of your feet into the floor. As you exhale, lowering. So the last one, the fourth one that we've been practicing, the fourth foundation of mindfulness is trust. And so as you're moving in and out of this posture, trust your internal experience, right? So that's what he's saying. He's like, as you tune in, as you become non-judgmentally mentally aware of your, or you strive to or desire to, of your experience, you learn to trust your internal experience. So just because my hips are lifting a certain amount doesn't mean that's how high your hips need to lift. Maybe your hips just lift a centimeter. Maybe lift super high off the floor. Let's do about 4 more of these. And on your fourth one, you're going to pause with the arms back behind you. But exhale, lower the hips to the floor. See if you can roll down the spine, one vertebrae at a time, arms back behind you. Let's get a little neck stretch. So the left arm is going to come alongside the body, and then just turn your head to the left. Your right arm is back behind you. And just let it relax back behind you any amount. Some of you might find that the right arm can't go straight back. Maybe it needs to go out to the right a little bit. That's cool. All of our heads are turning to the left. And let this pose be a pose of surrender. Inhale, turn your head through center. So now you're gazing at the ceiling, and extend your left arm back behind you. Let's do second side. Right arm comes alongside the body. And now head just turns to the right. Check in, see, can you surrender a little bit more? Maybe that left arm is just kind of lazily draped back there. That's great. Now let's give the low back a little love. Let's bring the thighs together in this posture and walk the feet wide. So now the inner thighs are spiraling towards the floor. We're broadening our low back, broadening our pelvis, the back of the pelvis. Soft tummy, slow breath. And now bring your head back through center. Gently draw your legs into your body. So knees coming into chest. Let's take a very tight twist to help relieve any remaining tension in the low back. So arms come left and right. And then you're going to swing knees to the left. And head is turning to the right. Try to get your knees as close to your left elbow as you can. Okay, if that right shoulder's popping off the mat, that's all right for this posture. Once again, finding a little bit of surrender. And then coming back through center. Take a round of breath in the middle. And as you're ready with an exhale, right, knees go right, head turns left. Maybe the knees can get a little closer towards that right elbow. So tight twist, thighs as close to the belly as you can get them. So breathe into the constriction that you're feeling. So the twist might be creating a bit of constriction in the trunk. Breathe into that and let the breath create more space that way. That's what mindfulness is like. It's breathing into the constriction. It's breathing into the pleasurable stuff too, of course. Don't get me wrong. We're present and available for whatever's arising. The good, we really can take in the good. The bad, we can be present and hold space for the bad. We can also inquire, is it good or bad? Maybe it just simply is. So come back through center. Give yourself one more squeeze. And then find your relaxation pose. You're welcome to do legs up the wall or any other version. If you like, you could do legs on the back of the chair or the feet of the chair. Maybe sliding a pillow behind the knees if the low back is still feeling tight. And once you arrive in your relaxation pose, just scanning through the body and just ensuring that you have indeed relaxed. You are indeed letting go. Maybe flattening the shoulder blades underneath you. Walking the shoulders a little further away from the ears. And then take a big, big, big breath in. Hold it for a count or two. Then open the mouth and let it out. So John Kabat-Zinn is like talking about how when we allow ourselves to be mindfully present to all the spectrum of what is in each moment, it helps us create this sense of wholeness. There's a wholeness that arises. And he says, the price of wholeness is nothing less than a total commitment to recognizing your intrinsic wholeness and an unswerving belief in your capacity to embody it in any moment. In our view, you are already perfect just as you are, in the sense of already being perfectly who you are, including all the imperfections. The present moment is the perfect moment for opening to this dimension of your being, for embodying the full dimensionality of who you already are in awareness. You can stay longer in relaxation pose and would like to, please do. You need to move on with the rest of your day. Then begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. And just moving the body a little bit here and there until you're ready for a big morning stretch. And bringing the knees into the chest. Giving yourself a hug. And then rolling to one side to come up to a seat. Finding a seat of your choice. Bringing the palms together in front of your heart. So a special added benefit of being able to be mindful and to your own experience is that when you have a greater capacity to hold whatever you're experiencing, you have a greater capacity to hold space for others. So the next time somebody's having a hard time in front of you, you have that capacity. You've stretched in that way. You've worked out in that way. So if you would like to dedicate the practice, your practice to someone special, maybe someone who you know is having a hard time right now, visualize them, and we'll send out all this goodness on an exhale. Take a big breath in, send it out. See them present and loving, feeling good in their body, heart and mind, and compassionate. Thank you so much for your practice. Namaste.